Oh yeah, we're under assault. You know, we got we got the typical shit out this way, brother. You know,
another
but
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Man, so what's been going down in the St. Louis, man? Any action?
Same old craziness, pretty much. You know, there's an issue with the St. Louis City Circuit Attorney Office and the St. Louis Police Department. They got a blacklist, about 28 police officers. They got to throw out the cases, and they got to go back and probably got to throw out other cases with them that testified, because they don't know how to cooperate on their lives.
They know how to cooperate. Let's stop being naive here. You know, it's all part of the plan. What happened is one of the chinks in their little chain, their little armor, finally got exposed. And then now we can start justifying why we get so pissed off about their treatment towards us, because you see they're corrupt. Just like, what was that up in New York City, Precinct 75, with all those dirty cops back in the 70s? And look how many people was harmed, melanated people, because that was an attack on the hood, as it always has been, and probably, as long as we continue our present course, always will be.
Yeah, they've been shaking down a whole bunch of people up there in the city. So now they got...
Man, what's going on with that governor race? What is it, the governor race?
No,
well, our government...
the governor, he stepped down, but no, we ain't got the lieutenant governor stepped in until, I think it's like he gonna serve out the rest of Gretchen's term, and then he'll be up, then it'll be election, probably like 2 years on that. Now, McCaskill and, huh?
So, yeah, he stepped down, so he got about, 2 years left?
Yeah, so the lieutenant governor, which is worse than Gretchen's was, but he, a more older guy, so you know how they know how to do that stuff a little more slicker.
Right.
So, but for us with the Senate race with McCaskill and Josh Howley guy, it's probably Howley's probably gonna win. So.
Okay, so how is he?
Typical, just a typical Republican whore, basically.
But Missouri does have a special brand. Don't forget they were, border state during the Civil War days.
Yeah.
It's safe to say he has a certain agenda that, if that true agenda, the true evangelical agenda was fulfilled and realized in America, you may find that a lot of your civil liberties were turned the fuck back. We're turning back the clock. That's what Great Again's about. We have white-only deeds now, and that's just not Missouri. That's nationwide. We have redlining that white-only deeds. That's homes, properties that can only be... Okay. And then we also have the Congress passed not that long ago that insurance companies can charge you more on premiums based upon if you live in a predominantly minority neighborhood and not based upon crime statistics, which goes back to the dirty cop thing. There's crime happening all out, but it's not being reported. And that will have a monetary effect on the citizens in said area. So we better get our heads out our asses. And, there's been guys like Mark from Anaheim and others, that have been trying to warn us. And now the time's up, guys. Think about this, all right, for those of you who are religious. The Bible says, the generation that sees Israel restored will not all perish before Jesus Christ apparently returns again. Now, the generation has been determined to be either 53 years or 72 years. Well, do the math. If it was 72 years, it'll be 2019 when all that's supposed to occur. Now, you can't deny a craziness and everything from global warming that people try to deny and say it's not real, even though there is, if you subscribe to science, there is scientific data that shows it is real. All right. But then you look at the political upheaval. We look at the psychological mindfuck that we all support the nation state of Israel. Why? Because those people were done wrong and they need to have their land back. But most people in America, or, I'm not talking about black folks by no means, but a lot of Americans don't believe that the land back in South Africa should go to its native people. Well, why are the Jews so cool?
I want to touch on that a little bit too with the EFF. Molina, man.
Yeah, Julius.
Right now. That,
beautiful human being.
He went against Trump, saying that he don't really give a damn about the backlash because shit, South Africa has already been through all that. They've been through the murder and through the apartheid. They've been through all that. So what really can you put them through?
They're going through something right now that we're really not even talking about. Cape Town, water shortage. And that goes back to the climate change thing that we were talking about. See, all this political stuff, they keep you focused like a donkey on just the white farmers. But you know what? What good is a white farmer if you have no water to spray on the crops? No one's really even talking about that issue. So there's a lot of things happening in South Africa. The only reason why they're giving that land up, think about this. The only reason why they're moving out after, what, damn near 400 years of occupation is because the land has been used to fuck up. It's just done. And then when black folks get the land, then the Zimbabwe scenario plays out. They can use that as more talking points and selling points about how incapable black folks are managing things. That's what this game has always been about, perception. That's why, guys, always got to realize we have been propagandized. The thing that's wrong with America, straight up, and I'll say it like I've been saying for the past 12 years, we have too many isms here. You got an ism for everything. And that's the thing that's wrong. You know, we're all individuals.
With the South African thing, do you really think it's going to really pop off to where they're going to get this land back? I mean, they essentially saying they're going to take it back. That's just what Molina's saying. He's saying, like, shit, I don't give a fuck if y'all try to come with some world laws or some restrictions.
Right.
You know, kind of restrictions they put upon the people for going against the grain, but he really ain't scared. He's telling the people, don't try to turn back now, because now the South Africans is acting like they're scared. They like, hold up, you know, we ain't think it's gonna get this deep.
Because they
you know what did they thought what was gonna happen?
Because like most people fail to underestimate white supremacy. It's not just a local phenomenon. Of course, it affects you locally because you're in a physical body, but it's a nation. It's a global thing. You think that one white nation is gonna let this other one go down? You know, it's sort of like the conservative forces were gathering, and we should have seen it back in the early 2000s when or like the teens, when Merkel was going through all that nonsense. The far right kept on, she's incompetent. Look how all these immigrants are bombing us and stuff. This is all a consortative attack. Now, right now, we're going to talk about South Africa. South Africa, as far as some sort of white genocide and black men and women and children with knives just going nuts, killing people. No, that is absolutely never going to happen. It's complete rubbish. It's lies and it's talking points that far right people use on ignorant people who do not research these topics. They do not know the geopolitical situation of the very country we're talking about. And they're just seeing a 15-second soundbite by someone they semi-trust. And they look at black folks' behavior in America and just the stuff on the media, not really knowing any of us on a personal level, but just the guy down in Dallas, for instance. We don't know that brother, but we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt because we know that, he was trying to do a couple of things. But there's probably right-wing people right now talking all craziness about this guy. So we got to understand there is a political machine that is focused on you, the black individual, and the black nation. The EFF, what they're trying to do, like any rational individual would do, is trying to secure the future of themselves and their lineage and their DNA offspring. There's nothing wrong with it. Europeans been doing it for years, and to allow the world's detriment, the way they applied it, unfortunately.
But at this moment, they're a little bit more in panic mode because nobody talks about the amount of life that's lost from the opioid plague. And a lot of these, a lot of white males also in this country and they're not talking about this too, they're sterile. So they're in a panic mode all across the Western hemisphere because they can't reproduce new babies. Not more than what's dying off.
To that South Africa, they're letting you know that they're willing to back up. Look, Australia has a history. If you're a brown person, you try to get into Australia, you're going to end up on one of their islands on the outside of their country, right? And there's been abuse documented in these islands and all that. But yet, now Australia said, hey, if you're a white, Afrikaner, you're welcome to come on into our country. I'm shocked the only reason why Trump's not saying it is because he knows kind of backlash he would get. Here we have Mexicans that want to come to pick, and do things. And I always go to the agricultural side of it. And I know they do a bunch of other jobs as well. And they do a lot of jobs that has impacted natural born Americans, carpentry jobs and things like that. But we need someone out there picking our food, or else we are going to have a famine within about 18 months.
So let's talk about too this opioid thing, the death of Mac Miller or something. Yeah, Mac Miller. It seems like to me it's worse than the crack era.
It is worse.
Oh yeah.
Not just touching the inner city.
Yeah, it's not even close to the crack era.
Opiates is so easy to get,
Mm-hmm.
and it's killing some top people. You know what I'm saying right now, off these pills and syrup and all this shit. Like, this shit is out of control right now, and especially for white America. It's devastating because shit, you got rich kids dying, you got the whole state of Vermont, not the whole state, like what is it? The state of Vermont has either had some type of overdose or experience with heroin.
Yeah.
Over 60%.
Don't forget.
Over half the state.
Don't forget Connecticut.
It's like the most heroin state in America right now. They don't even put that on the nose.
See what it is.
So, you know what I'm saying?
And another thing too, with fentanyl is playing a huge role in a lot of these overdoses too. Is fentanyl, because it's a cheaper form of heroin, but it's like 10, 20 times more potent. You can die from this stuff just by even touching it.
And let's hit that fentanyl thing. I don't mean cut you off, but let's hit that fentanyl thing real quick.
Into the system, into the what do you call that? The air duct system. And it killed like so many people. When I went down to Ohio last week, that was a big thing on the news. I forgot, like, somebody hooked up some fentanyl to the air ducts and it spread all the fentanyl through the facility.
But where does fentanyl come from?
Correctional officers, inmates. But to me, that sounded like some type of experiment.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because how can they get an Ohio correctional?
No, what it is.
Oh, in the jail. You're talking about jails? They put that in a jail?
They hooked up some fentanyl to their air duct system, and it's huge. They're trying to figure out how this happened. But to me, I'm figuring out how can some inmates even get to the air duct system.
That's a test.
Fentanyl to go to a whole facility.
That's a test.
I don't understand. How the fuck did you get that much fentanyl? And then they blamed it on the inmates. That sounds like an experiment.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Because you're only getting that.
Once the law is for black people, I don't know about how it is for Caucasians. Once you go to jail, you're no longer a citizen.
Right.
You're up under, and you back. It's like you're back in a slave.
It's not like you are a slave.
You are
a slave. It's not like, brother, legally.
They're able to do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yep.
That's where processed food got their debut at, is inside prison. And what do they do to affect the, like you in a 20-year prison? What is this chicken patty gonna do to you in 20 years?
Oh, damn.
You know what I'm saying? That's where they tested out a lot of processed food, was in prison. Dot-pack juices, which is now our 99-cent juices in the stores, the big gallons.
But see but what you're still talking about, bro, and the root of all of this, once again, who's the scientist that's thinking of, hey, let's try to, work out this, situation on these people. You know who it is. It's the descendants of those who came from Germany after World War II, Operation Paperclip. When you dig into all the little conspiracies, at the end of it, where did all these conspiracy leads to? The securement and enforcement of white supremacy. So now, that being said, brother, we are all prisoners of war. We are all prisoners of war.
The white class, too, because look at the opiates. Like I'm saying, it's not really affecting us, it's affecting them. It's affecting them on a larger scale than it is.
But they got something coming for us. It's called Flocka. All right, it's hitting South Beach. All right. And this is coming from China as well. Flocka comes from China. And fentanyl comes from China. All right. China, and let's not get this confused or misconstrued. Let's get this out in the open right now. The Chinese, some of them are far more racist as far as the way they view us as any white nationalist you will ever come across. They have a very low opinion of us. And the Koreans, their cousins, we all know about that and the hair situation. So let's not get it twisted. We better get on page with South Africa. We better get on page with all the issues that affect us as a group. But we still need to individually try to work to ensure that whatever we're doing is constructive towards our group effort. However you're doing in music or in poetry or in whatever you're doing, making sure you just think, is this going to be constructive for us as a group?
Because see, with the opioids, what was going on with that is you had these, I know in Missouri, I don't know about anywhere else, but you had these pill mills. And see, what they were doing was they were actually, they were discriminating against black people on the amount of pills they were giving out. So that actually kind of saved black people to where they were overprescribing that stuff for white people, and it got them hooked. In which I look at that in that situation as a good thing. Them discriminating against us actually saved us from going through another epidemic just coming off of the crack.
Yes.
But they did that in Missouri. They would overprescribe these white people those opioids, and next thing you know, now we live in zombie land.
Because some of these so-called doctors really believe black folks have a higher pain tolerance. They say that as an excuse. But it's just hatefulness. They want to see you hurt. They don't want to see a smile on your face. They want to be like coming out their house, whistling and seeing you just all droopy or sad and shit. And that makes them happy.
Yeah, let's speak up a little louder on the phone right now. We're getting like a back.
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another thing I just wanted to touch on, but the fentanyl, you just gotta be careful because they even putting that stuff on marijuana. Yeah. They putting that stuff on a whole bunch of stuff, and it's very highly can kill you. Just, you don't have to smoke it or however they do it. Just touching it, it will kill you.
I mean, I just want to segue, man. Just be careful. If you're out there doing the street drug, I don't want to, judge you or nothing, but there's a lot of shit out there that they didn't have back in the 90s. They didn't have back in the 80s, 70s, blah, blah, blah. This shit will kill your ass, kids.
Well, I think they have found some fentanyl actually in some food, too, and some food ingredients.
Yeah, well, think about the little factory.
And they cut on different shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of shit, kind of like that Monsanto, with my man getting that big, huge lawsuit for spraying that,
Roundup, glyphosate.
Yeah, fuck them up, man.
But you know what?
Spraying it every day or once, twice a week, and that's the same weed killer we use.
Brother Judah, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that, brother. You and your family goes to these parks. You go to these government buildings. You go to these facilities that are being sprayed on the sidewalk so that you don't see no weeds. Well, your little babies are walking in it. If they fall, their hands touch it. That hand goes to their mouth. Guess what? It's in their body. And guess what? When you feed them that Wheaties that the illegal have picked, the wheat and shit, all that shit still has it in there. So it's in your food. It's in your body. Don't worry about the vaccine giving you cancer. Monsanto already took care of that.
Yeah, it's in your teeth. You got
they got like something like 800 lawsuits after this one. I think they gotta give my man something like 200-300 million.
Yeah.
And then after that, they got 800 and some lawsuits on them.
Yeah, because if you got on a cotton T-shirt, that cotton is probably made from GMO cotton, which has a glyphosate in the seed.
Right.
So that glyphosate is in the cotton, which you put that shirt on, gets into the pores of your skin, and that's into your bloodstream. Everything, glyphosate is in everything we use, touch, drink, smell, everything.
And let's really put that in perspective. Let's say you're homeless or whatever, and you're in a rural area. Oh, I'm going to sneak over here and steal some of this GMO corn. You're eating the pesticide, because I think they had to take it through some sort of process to decontaminate it somewhat. Because like you said, it's in the fruit, it's in the vegetable, all right? And that's what's supposed to be killing the pests. But you know what? At the end of the day, folks, we're the pests.
And if you living right now, and it seems like, we living in a radioactive world.
We are.
Yeah, you got Fukushima.
You got these
If you eat
towers
tuna.
everywhere. I'm looking up. I was driving to work last week. They got a phone tower posed as a goddamn tree in West Lawrence.
They don't want you. They don't want you to get scared. They don't want you to get scared that they're frying you, because you know about that new phone, the G5 phone is based upon microwave technology. So come on guys, we know if we put a bag of popcorn in a microwave, you hit the button.
G5, I was telling you, we were talking about that shows ago. G5, when that's coming out, shit, that's why they putting up all these new towers.
Yes.
Also, they got right here on Grand River, Detroit, we got a brand new school. So I think it's Grand River, something, not Academy, something. But in their parking lot, they have one of the biggest cell phone towers I have seen inside their parking lot.
In the parking lot?
Yeah, in the elementary and middle school.
Oh, no way.
Inside their parking lot is on Grand River and 6 Mile. In their parking lot, brand new. Me and my wife was looking at it, and I'm like, damn, why would they put that shit in that close to school? But I did my research, man. They get radioactive like a motherfucker. Plus the Wi-Fi and all that inside the school. Oh, nah. This is in their parking lot. And they have a bigger one. Like a space station.
Now, was that predominantly black school?
In their parking lot of their school.
Wow.
And so, you know what I'm saying? Us black people, we got all these things. Yeah, we got bad cell phone reception, but they put that shit in our neighborhood. I think I checked my neighborhood. It got something like 100 and some towers just in one simple area, like 4 miles. Shit.
Yeah, they'll put.
4 mile radius is like 100 or 200 cell phone towers.
I had
radiation in the neighborhood.
I had seen the story out of Detroit about the schools, the Detroit city schools, about with the water. That some of the schools, that some.
Yeah, I mean, that's typical because you got to understand, shit, Detroit hasn't been repiped out in what, 60 years, probably longer than that, 100 years, shit. They haven't replaced these pipes, and that's not just Detroit, it's in a lot of these historical cities.
Yeah.
Like Boston, Chicago, Philly, even probably St. Louis, where they was built way back in the day and piped out back then.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these cities is now asbestos and all this lead is being exposed because they rebuilding and redoing these cities and they contaminating these pipes and touching these pipes that's stirring up all this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
These pipes, man, up under these cities, man, is shit 100 and some years old, 100 years old, man.
Yeah. But a lot of that also, brother Judah.
Using bottled water.
But that's no good either, because you're getting the chemical residue off the plastic manufacturing process. Look, guys, there's a spiritual component that most shows never talk about. On my show, coming up in the next month, I'm going to start plugging the spiritual component. We're at the 6,000 year. A lot of people don't understand what that really means. That's why everything's in acceleration. We're getting all these hurricanes, all these earthquakes, all these sightings, disclosure of UFOs and all this crazy shit. And just follow me on YouTube, TruePowerIsMine on YouTube. The Other Morning Show, Dimebag TV, Random BS, Special Report. We're coming out with a series of shows to break this stuff down, because the things we're talking about, even like South Africa, because there was something that Julius has said. He said that he doesn't care about Donald Trump, and I'm paraphrasing this, in America's ideals, because they know that they're killing black folks over here. And they do nothing about the black genocide happening in America. Now, that makes, you got to understand what he's truly saying. The world knows we're dying over here in droves. The world knows we're being oppressed. But yet no one really going to do anything for us. It's like Dick Gregory said, every other people, someone came in and rescued them. And took them back home and cleaned them up. That's what the nation tried to do, clean us up. That's what other organizations try to do, is clean us up spiritually. But until we get that mess cleaned up off of us, the residue, a degradation of oppression and slavery, and some oppression that we're still going through, we can never be righteous. We can never be right.
Well,
and that's where we have to be.
I seen a story about I think the lady back from Friday by Felicia.
Mm-hmm.
Came back to her neighborhood in Compton and was selling vegan food because in a 5-mile radius of some shit is no vegetable stores, no fruit store.
Wow.
In a 5-mile radius, and I can look in some areas in Detroit.
It's the same guy.
Chicken and restaurants, and you know what I'm saying? If we do have a vegetable option, it's coming from people that don't give a damn about it. So you're not gonna really get the best selection.
But the thing,
so I always tell people that's in urban neighborhoods, if you can afford to, and if you got vehicles, travel outside your zone.
yes, right. Don't be scared.
Them that way, get your fresh veggies and other options and shit. Because if you shop within your neighborhood or eat within your neighborhood, 9 times out of 10 you're unhealthy in an urban neighborhood.
Right. And another thing people can do too, when you speak about everything, you can grow a lot of your own fruits and vegetables too. Even in the urban setting, there's many different techniques you can use to grow your own food, and it'll cost you.
You can also say too, but you know what you gonna get around from all these chemtrails then falling on your lettuce and shit. Because Detroit, we wake up getting sprayed every night. I can wake up and people be pissed off at Detroit just for no reason.
Little Prince talked about that.
And all that shit in the air that's falling on your fruits and your vegetables too.
And it's falling in your water as well, because all your reservoirs are open to the air. All your reservoirs. So you got the lead in the water, you got the chemtrail juice in your water, and God knows what other chemical X they place in it. So you're a petri dish. It's not Detroit. It's a petri dish. Because you're a science experiment. You've already been written off. You really have, folks. Until we come together and get this in our fucking heads, it's going to be, and we're all going to die. I mean, I know we're going to die anyhow, naturally, whatever, but we're going to be helped along the way. Scientifically, systematically. Because these brothers are talking about other cities are having the same fucking layout. If you're in the black community, there is no fresh food. You're going to eat some processed food, just like the prison, remember? The chicken patty. Let's see how long it takes to kill a motherfucker. Well, they always beta test it on us.
They tested all this out in prison. They say, how long can you last in prison with, eating so much fruit a week? How much vegetables do we got to get them before they start getting sick? They sit back and they watch you like guinea pigs in these prisons. That's why they can't wait till we get inside these prisons. Because, you know what I'm saying, we have no right, really, in a prison, if you're melanated. You have no right, so you can get all these companies. That's where they tested out on Pink Slime Act.
Mm-hmm.
Same shit that they put into
the chicken
buzzers and shit.
Yeah.
I call it cut on dope. You know what I'm saying? If I got a bunch of meat, okay, put the cut on. You know what I'm saying? That's all Pink Slime is.
Yeah, they use it in chicken.
Yeah, we're gonna break it down.
Yeah, that's.
It's a pretty crazy situation we find ourselves here in 2018.
But it's only crazy by design. I will always press that. It's all this is always by design. Nothing happens by chance.
Yeah, they pretty much want us done.
Yeah. Until we come together and come up with a plan, get your little bug out bags together. For those who don't know about bug out bags, once again, come to the channel. We got videos about it, what you need to have in these bags for both urban, rural, and suburb application. Each zones, you're going to need different things to get through.
Try to get to the mountains. Stupid people can't get up there. So.
Yeah, shit. Being from Detroit, shit, we far away from the mountains. Shit, we got hills and shit, but it ain't that far out.
Yeah.
We basically stuck in if you look at the map of Detroit, we basically stuck in backed into a corner. Surrounded by so much water and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they ever wanted to cut Detroit off, and that goes for a lot of urban cities that's set up that way, where they can just block it off.
Right.
That's why the freeways run up and down and shit. So if they really want to shut down the city, they can shut down. But Detroit will be a city to where you look at the map, it's stuck in like a corner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's backed up into a corner against some water. So, you know what I'm saying? If someone else was to break out and they were to shut this little corner off,
Take the bridge out.
yeah, to take the bridge out and set up a little blockade in the water and all that shit, you really know where we can go.
Well, brothers, on the real,
That's fact.
do you have any boating experience? You know, have any of y'all brothers ever been?
I'm saying if you got any boating experience, they gonna put up a blockade. You know, they gonna block that off.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the Great Lakes, if you look at the Great Lakes, it's only one way in.
Yeah.
It's only one way in. They can really shut you down. They can really cut it off. It's not that wide. You got a narrow spot where they can shut it down.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't like it has. I think you got some parts between Detroit and Canada is like, what, a mile or two? So, you know, that they can really shut that down. Then you can only enter coming in through Ohio. You know what I'm saying? They can really cut it off if they wanted to. That's what I'm saying. I always tell people, like, Detroit is like a city that's backed into a corner.
It is. If it's like that.
Yeah.
It's straight.
If break out, they can just shut this whole city down, block it off. And we'd be hit.
Yeah. It's just gotta, you know.
We gotta avoid getting it to that point. You know how we always say America's a melting pot. You know, you break that down. A melting pot is a vessel. That's your limitation within the society. And then the people inside, you know, they're just melting together, right? But in order for that vessel to get hot, there has to be a fire. Well, this fire's been burning too hot, and this motherfucker's about ready to boil over. So we got to turn that flame down, put a little, maybe some water up in there, you know, fluorinated or not, and do this thing right. Yeah, we got to cut this thing down.
You know, breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The fire's already amped up and already boiled over and shit, you know. How you gonna turn the fire down when you got too much wood up under it? You know, so it ain't like they got a dial where they can turn it down. They doing it the old fashioned way, throwing wood up under it, throwing wood up on the flame going, igniting the fire.
You know.
Like I said, you got all kinds of shit going on in the United States that we got to be aware of.
Oh, you better.
When I travel overseas, I always say people be like, "Yeah, I can't wait to get to the United States." I'm like, "Stay here, man. Stay where the fuck where you at?"
Yes.
I'm trying to get where you at. I'm not trying to lie. I'm out of this bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to stay here with fake food and all that.
Yeah.
I've been overseas, man. When I retasted how watermelon's supposed to.
Right.
The watermelons we eat ain't real watermelons, and peaches tasting like cardboard, man. This is a real peach. They don't allow all this GMO shit over there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, my
shit fuck me up. It fuck my wife up too. Shit, grand or something. What the fuck? Because you ain't juice shit flying out your mouth. Damn, man. That's a real peach.
you know it.
Shit, we eat nowadays is grown inside, indoors. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Got timers on shit. They growing apples like they growing kush.
and so
man, they growing broccoli, man, like they growing kush.
you know how you take a bite out of an apple and it turns red.
Different names and shit now that they got different names. One's growing them inside like they kush. Then when they bring it out of the facility, it's a tomato. Purple word, and then when it come out, oh yeah, it's all the same tomato. They got different vegetables.
But that's real though, because Monsanto has stated.
They fighting like a motherfucker because they don't want our imports. The United States don't import fruit and shit to other main countries, yo. They don't import their meat.
Right.
We only one of the countries that take all the imports and shit. If you go to other countries, you don't see all them imports from America. They know that shit is contaminated.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want your cereals and shit coming over here with soy all in it.
Mm.
I only seen like 2-3 different types of cereals when I was over there. The rest is they shit.
Mm.
Got 100 brands over there.
Yeah, because they don't, you know, they only gonna import so much Kellogg's, cornflakes, Rice Krispies. That's it.
And
They
that
don't
shit.
want all that other shit with all that BHT and all that shit in there. Like I told people warned them back before. Look on your labels on your kids' box and see what the fuck is BHT.
Yeah.
What is that?
See what I think is another some HT that they use as a preserve.
Okay, preservative.
Wow.
Yeah. They're pickling you so that.
That shit is gasoline.
The coloring they use for the
Coloring, you know what I'm saying? Different shit. They got coloring, I think, in one of these countries to where the people using so much fucked up color to where it's coloring the goddamn rivers. They wash the color out in the goddamn rivers. Fucking this shit up over, I think it's in India. Fuck the river up. The river is like purple or something. They can't even bathe in it.
It looks like an Oompa Loompa when they get out purple.
Yeah, because they done put so much colors and dumping in the shit to where they rivers is fucked up. And then they got motherfuckers shitting all in the river.
Oh.
They got one river shitting all in it. So it's fucked up.
Well, we got a river like that in St. Louis, River de Pere.
Yeah.
It's basically a toilet that's right through the city.
So, you know, that's the United States. That's how I know we're a third world country because shit, we dumping shit all in our shit.
Hey, I take offense to that. We are not a third world country. I take offense to that, sir. I take offense.
We got fucked up roads, potholes, man, that you can bathe in.
Fake news. Fake news.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, I have to agree. You know, you're right. But that's all, once again, by design. See, look, the thing we gotta watch for when the economic thing hits, where, you know, $21 trillion in debt, when the economic collapse hits, that's when the far right are going to explode, you know, and that's when, unfortunately, places like Detroit there, man, that sounds like Auschwitz 2.0. Railroad tracks one way, and then they'll dump your ashes into the sea. They'll straight up shake and bake. You know, so we got to put this in the consciousness of the people and get us thinking. Okay, now how the hell can I get out? Can I get out today? Can I get out? Because this shit's coming down, man. It's coming down. There's no stopping it. I'm sorry. I wish I could say there was, there was a rainbow. No, another Hitler guy is on his way, and you know what's for dinner. I ain't talking about beef.
It's going to be dark meat.
Yes, sir. So you better wake up. You're a prisoner of war, young man and woman. It is what it is. Until you're truly liberated, you better act and think accordingly.
We all better get on the same page, because I can. Man, this is deep, man. Like, I would like to thank y'all for coming on today, man. Like this, you know what I'm saying? It felt like we was on knowledge, 10, 15 minutes, but it's been damn near an hour. So shit, man. I would like to thank y'all, man. Coming on the show.
Hey, it's been our pleasure.
I want to thank y'all too, man, for spreading the word, man. Like you said, hope people taking the message, like you said, wake up.
Yeah.
Coming, man. So hey, I'm down. So
thanks.
Following your lead on that one, my brother. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks for having us, man.
People how they can get in touch with y'all, where they can find y'all at once again. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
you can find us on YouTube at Dimebag TV. You can see the other morning show and random bullshit and special report, or you can go over to TruePowerIsMine on YouTube and catch special report the other morning show, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
I see where but it's True Power is Mine. The way you say it's like you're saying minds, but it is mine. It's all one word. True Power is Mine. And it's yours too, as long as you open your mind.
All right, brothers. We'd like to thank y'all for coming on, man.
All
thank
right,
you, brother.
No problem.
I can follow Dimebag TV, True Power is Mine. True, what do you say? True Mind?
see, it's true. It's True Power is Mine.
Okay, True Power is Mine.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Brothers is very informative, man. They come with some deep shit, man. They had some guests on their show, Mark from Anaheim, which, you know, I was a follower of him, man. He comes with some deep shit, man. He, you know what I'm saying? He has a in-depth background, man. The shit he used to say, man. I'm mad he ain't on the show. Y'all haven't talked to Mark?
I still talk to Mark on the side note, you know, but once again, you know, you gotta understand with Mark, he is not here to showboat himself, man. He is such a knowledgeable man. He wants people to get his knowledge, but research it. And what people are failing to do is actually research it. They just want to.
I have
They just want to sit there.
Y'all don't know who we're talking about. We're talking about Mark from Anaheim. So if you ever want to go on YouTube or research some of his old videos and listen to him, you can talk to Dick Gregory. My one guy, what is his name? Carl Nelson, Dick Gregory. Carl Nelson is a legend in the radio game, man. Mm-hmm. I think he interviewed Nelson Mandela when he got out of prison, man.
First one, too.
You know, so he had an interview with legends, man, and came some very informative shit where the elders have bowed down and say, this man know his shit. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of naysayers out there to try to dog him out. So if y'all can have people out there, you know what I'm saying?
I do got some news, though.
Videos, Mark from Anaheim, what we talking about, they should be on Dimebag and the TV show. You know what I'm saying? The man, he was coming on there. That's how I got up on y'all, because I was following him, and y'all had him on there, 2 or 3 times, right?
Total 6 times.
6 times, and you had the judge on there.
Yeah, Judge Joe. Yep.
Judge Joe.
Judge Joe Brown.
Judge Joe, man, you don't even know. He's deep, man. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Judge Joe, man, is a deep brother, man. Coming out of the civil rights era and all that shit. He got a lot of stories, man.
We also have Brother Ron. We have Brother Ron from We All Be TV. You know, that brother is like he is on it with the research. You know, that's what we also strive to do is we should know these things as far as rhetoric and propaganda points, but we also should know these things as far as truly academic and scholarship points as well. You know, because if you don't know the past, you're just a fool that's going to be propagandized in the present.
Man, so you know what I'm saying, like, man, y'all deep. We like to, whenever y'all want to come on the show, man, hit me up, man. We can always work you into the schedule, man, because shit, we always like to have an extension in other states.
Yes, we got to make this network.
You know, other cities and shit, and work together, you know what I'm saying, to get this information out, because shit, all outlets need to work, especially black media need to work together, you know what I'm saying, as a collective, so we can get this shit, you know what I'm saying, get on cold.
Yes, right. Yes.
Yeah. So we got to get on cold with each other. We can't just be thinking, I'm doing my shit over here. We got to work together to get this information, because a person in St. Louis might get some information from us. They might not know, and vice versa.
Exactly.
And you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I always urge my black people, especially in media, to work together with other people in different states, different cities. So, you know what I'm saying, to get your points across. Yeah, keep everybody up on
right.
You know?
You know, I mean, even when I had my interview with Professor Griff, you know, from Public Enemy, I'm sure your audience is aware of him. You know.
Yeah, we aware. Yeah, he was on 7 Mile Radio, Mark, right? Yeah. So we, you know, he done had him on here before.
Yeah, and we gotta keep in mind these brothers, you know, unfortunately they're in time stream like us all. You know, we gotta take their wisdom, they're willing to share it with us, and we can't be stingy with it. You gotta share it with our young people. I cannot stress that enough. It's not just enough for you to have the knowledge, but you need to share it with the young men and women.
Because they are the future.
All right.
All right, man.
Time is up, man. We got, like I said, I'm going to holler at y'all. I'd like to thank y'all for coming on. T, you got anything else? Thank y'all, too, man.
Oh, we appreciate it. Thank y'all.
All right.
All right.
One love, man. We'd like to thank y'all, True Talk Nation, man, for coming on there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we'll be hollering at y'all, brothers. That's this Dimebag TV, people. Keep up the good work, fellas.
Peace. We out.